जय माता। चरणं शरणं रमाम्बिगे, चरणं शरणं त्र्यम्बके. That year, Onam was on 14th September. Keralites from all centers gathered at Shaktinagar to bring in the harvest, so to say, of their joyous day in the presence of Divine Mother. This had been a custom that Mother's Malayali devotees anticipated with great pleasure in earlier years. But this year, the saga of frequent darshans were on the wane, and the pathos of an as yet unrecognized void was felt by all. Initiation and discourses had ceased because of the gravity of Mother's health. Yet, from the bounty of her grace, she came down to the Bhagavan Memorial Hall to give darshan on Onam Day. Mother was overjoyed to see that many boys and girls had come, for as ever, her overriding concern was the spiritual growth of the younger generation. That day, the group of young men and boys from Trivandrum Center sang beautiful bhajans extolling her divine Vaibhavas. Ravi, son of T.N.K Nair, sang a glorious song he had composed about Mother. Listening to it, we were all lost in adoration. Mother suddenly sat up in her seat and was soon absorbed in the grandeur of Samadhi. For some months, all divine manifestations of Mahabhava of Devi had abated in Mother. But that day, her still form merged in a vast silence. Mother glowed with a radiance of inconceivable majesty of power and peace. All the past glories seemed to be gathered into the momentum of the present. I learned later that till late in the evening, a brooding silence had enveloped Mother. The singing continued, and later, when Mother came back to outer consciousness, she called all the boys to her and showered blessing on them. She asked Dr. Pai to garland Devi as a blessing to all. Devi then stood up and spoke of the Mother and of her immeasurable magnitude. It should be mentioned that here that Devi had lost his beloved mother earlier in life, a very young and very sensitive boy. He had been unable to cope with this loss. His father had sent him to Shaktinagar to Mother. In the indescribable love of Mother, he found the balm that soothed the unbearable ache in his heart. He had too a divine affirmation, a vision of his mother sitting as securely as a child in the sheltering lap of Divine Mother. So it was with immeasurable gratitude that he spoke. When he ended his talk, reciting Saint Kabir's beautiful poems in praise of the Absolute, all hearts joined him in the worship of the Almighty Mother. Ravi and two other boys desired above all else to receive initiation from Mother, but I told them of the serious condition of Mother's health and made them understand that they should be content with the blessing Mother had showered on them that evening. But who can measure the Mother's heart? That night, Mother called me to say, Mother wants to give Upadesh to Devi and to the other boys. But tomorrow, the Mahalaya Paksha is starting, and so the auspicious Upadesha has to be over before 10:30 in the morning. Be alert, because after that the chance of Upadesha is gone. The boys and myself spent the night in prayers. The next morning, though everything was ready, an unexpected visitor came whom the mother had to see. We were on tender hooks, but mother came in time and blessed them with initiation. To the best of my knowledge, these were the last initiations to be granted by the Supreme Guru. This was a vivid personal experience of a love beyond compare, a sacrifice for some young boys when her body was in the throes of suffering. The days of September sped towards the last phase of Mother's life. October dawned with Navaratri celebrations. The programs went on, and towards its close, Mother gave darshan. Moving episodes of which we knew only bits and pieces were going on in Maudanlaya. Hints of her oncoming departure, as well as her commands and instructions, were given to Tara Devi and Dr. Pai. She had instilled into the minds of many that there was no time to lose, that mother's body was not what it was. Up to that, mother had waited for her children, but now they had to hurry and come or they would repent ever, ever afterwards. I can still remember the sense of urgency in her utterances. This golden opportunity, Suvarna Sandhi, the opportunity of contact with your mother is precious. Do not lose it. Strive with intensity and infinite will be your reward. During that Navaratri, many outsiders had heard darshan in the closing days of the festival. Moods of divine compassion interspersed with states of divinity. It became more and more difficult for mother to remain in the human power. Once mother declared, only very little work remains to be done. Mother's was a religion of humanism, and her heart wept for the suffering humanity. Prompted by her divine sankalpa, there arose in the minds of her disciples the idea to build a hospital in Shaknagar. The late Maharani of Travancore, Setu Parvati Bhai, who was greatly devoted to mother, made a munificent donation for the project to keep this haven of mercy started in mother's mission. Soon donations flowed in, and in December 1977, the foundation stone was laid by the governor of Karnataka, Sri Govind Narayan, in the presence of Divine Mother, under the assiduous management of Dr. Pai, who was profusely blessed by the Divine Mother. The work progressed with intensity and dedication. The 11th of October 1978, Vijayadashami Day, was fixed for the sanctification of the newly built hospital by the Divine Mother. A great assemblage of devotees, as well as doctors and prominent persons from the city were present. It was the beginning of a new phase in Mother's mission. Even though her health was deteriorated, her dauntless will prevailed and she arrived at the auspicious hour. The program started with ritualistic worship and was followed by talks by eminent doctors and others. Here I have to mention with humble thanksgiving a blessing that was bestowed on me and my family that day. Great had been my desire to have a fitting memorial to my late husband T.N.K Nair. As the hospital work was progressing, I expressed the wish to mother that I wanted to build a ward in his name. Mother was pleased, and it was her grace alone that enabled me to find the money for a large general ward. There was hardly any time, but Dr. Pai knew my intense desire. So he undertook the task and in his dynamic fashion managed to finish it in time for the opening. That morning, mother remembered my cherished desire and went into the ward to sanctify it. My son-in-law, Major General Nair, and granddaughter Parvati had come from Madras and my son from Cochin. I placed a garland at mother's feet in gratitude. Mother talked of the unique devotion of my husband to the assembled doctors and others who had never met my husband. Afterwards, mother came out into the lawn in front of the hospital and raising her hands high, blessed the hospital. This was one of the last public darshans. I think it is befitting to quote a few words from Mother's message to doctors. If you are worshippers of God, then Mother tells you your God is there in the chamber of the sick, upon the bed of the hospital, awaiting your worship. He is there in the operation theatre, ready to accept your ministration. He is there with the man, groaning with pain and awaiting the oncoming dissolution of the body. He is there with him whom society has segregated, whom friends and relatives have deserted, who is in dire need of comfort and solace, yet devoid of them. Go, visit him, your beloved, your deity of worship, in the hearts of the suffering patients, with a heart full of love and a mind rejoicing in worship. The sick man's chamber is your sacred shrine. His vision is the vision of your blessed deity. Let every visit to your patient be a sacred pilgrimage to you. For you, there is no pilgrimage nobler than this, which brings merit and virtue, no worship greater than attendance on him who suffers, no bliss more blessed than this ecstasy of service, no communion more exalted than this contact with the sick. Your meditation is with open eyes upon the suffering angels. Their relief from pain is itself the fruition of your worship. Charanam Sharanam Ramambige, Charanam Sharanam Trayambage. Jai Mother.